Hello, and welcome to the Comedy Special podcast. It's a crazy little thing called Lovdev. Today's episode is 148. Little People.
What's going on, podcast lovers out there? Welcome back to another episode. It looks like I've been keeping this going, I suppose. Hope you all had a good week since the last episode. I am now live on a online TV channel called Ustreme. I think I told you guys about it last week, so I'm on there now. If you want to watch my recording, just type in ustream.com, I think it is, and you should be able to see my video, which is live, called Friday Night Live, funny enough. I'm on the show with Chris Chawner, who is a London act, and myself, so, yep. And there's two other comedians as well, Prince Abdi and Stephen Dodd. They're on a different episode, but you can catch both of us. I haven't watched mine yet, so I'm not quite sure how it has gone, but I'm pretty confident that it went well. We'll have to see. So I was meant to record this earlier on in the day. I've been waiting for a builder to come round to my house. Yes, I'm getting an extension. Well, I'm getting a quote. As my son is getting older and taller and longer, I need to get him a bedroom, because the one he's sleeping in at the moment is basically a box room, which it's a box. It's called a box room for a reason. When they made these houses, the old traditional semi-detached 3-bedroom house, why did they make a box room? Like, what was the whole purpose of it? I might have to ask Chat LGBT. Maybe they know why that reason was. Were people shorter back then? Were they like little people? Hence the episode title. Yeah, I don't know, man. Yeah, anyway, we're gonna get that done, hopefully. Gotta speak to the missus. He gave me a price, and it's a lot more than I thought it would be. Actually double the price to what I thought it would be, to be honest. I think in general, building materials have just shot up, haven't they? Especially since just after COVID lockdown, prices have gone high. Just like cars, but I think cars are dropping now. I'm not too sure. I have also been looking at a new motor as well. Not quite sure what to get. So currently I drive a Skoda Octavia. Or is it Octavia, I think. Actually, Skoda's pronounced Skoda rather than Skoda. Anyway, I've got a Skoda Octavia. It's a VRS, Victory Rally Sport. Great car. Diesel. Gets me to my gigs fast, you know what I mean? And I like a sports car because it's good for overtaking, especially on the motorway. And you need it, trust me. In the UK, motorways are horrendous. I don't want to go into that again. But you all know how much I complain about it. So I've also been looking at a car. I don't know whether to upgrade my Octavia to the new model, which is nice. I do like it. I'm not too keen on the back end of it, to be honest. The only reason I want to keep it is because of the boot size. It's so convenient. The whole window and the boot open up, so it's like a big, massive boot space. And it's convenient, like, for shopping, for taking stuff down to the skip. Oh, it's great, man. You can proper fill my car up. That's one of the reasons I love my car. So it's either keep that one, get the same model, but different model, the Mark IV, or do I go for an SUV? But I don't want to be one of those SUV people, you know? Drive around, think they own the road. I was looking at the VW Tiguan, I think it's called, Tiguan. And I was quite impressed with that one. I thought, yeah, I wouldn't mind that. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, we'll have to see. Anyway, that's all I've been doing. So, yeah, Ustreme and looking for an extension and possibly a new car. And no, I haven't won the lottery, but, you know, I could do with the dosh if you've got any money. I am on a Patreon. If you want to give me coffee money, say about 30 grand, that should pay off my extension on the house. Yeah, it's more than that, to be honest, but 30 grand would be nice. If anyone's got 30 grand lying around, yeah, chuck it my way. Let's crack on with the podcast because I want to do this. Let's welcome, I haven't seen him for ages, it's Donald Trump.
Americans and United Kingdom, everybody else out there.
Everybody else out there.
It's time for No Stupid Questions.
It is time for No Stupid Questions. Thank you, Donald DJ Trump, the president-elect. Oh, funny, before I go into the No Stupid Questions, I was chatting to a friend of mine, a comedian. I did this material night on Monday, and he was saying that his dad doesn't understand what elect means. So he had to explain to him that he's yet to be president. He is president, but he has to just wait a couple of months and then he can go into the White House. And his dad was like, yeah, but he got voted. Everybody wants him there. Why haven't they just switched him over? He said, Dad, it doesn't work like that. He's called the president-elect. And my mate was telling me, and it was absolutely funny. It was so funny. I said to him, you should turn this into material because it's true story, do you know what I mean? And you can make a joke out of it. There's some jokes. There's jokes and everything. So, yeah, the president-elect. No stupid questions. This one has been put up by Sad Bat. Sad Bat wants to know, why is midget considered demeaning while little people is considered politically correct? I know you can't say that word anymore, midget. I think I've mentioned this a while ago, ages ago. So I used to do this one-liner. I don't really do it anymore. The joke was, if a group of midgets all waved at the same time, is that called a microwave? I don't even know if that's funny, but it's silly. So a friend of mine who has dwarfism told me that you can't say the word midget because it's very offensive. So use a different... Oh, now I've got a friend calling me. I'll call you back later, mate. I'll call you back later. I'm recording something very important. So yes, midget is considered demeaning. I think it's similar to saying... You know, it's similar to saying the N-word, the P-word. So it's in that same derogatory, if that's the correct word I've used. Look at me, trying to be impressive. I probably said the wrong thing. Who knows? Anyway, he's put down in brackets, feels like little people is a lot more degrading than midget. Is it? Yeah, do you know what? In a way, I think... It kind of, I understand that, you know, midget's an offensive word. You can't really say that because that's what they used to get called a lot. But isn't a midget an insect? Am I right? I need to ask chat LGBT what they think. Hang on a minute. I've had a look on chat LGBT, had to pause the recording. So chat LGBT is saying the perception of words like little people and midget can vary widely, depending on cultural context and individual perspectives. However, in modern discourse, little people is generally considered the more respectful term because it was adopted by advocacy groups like Little People of America to describe individuals with dwarfism or the conditions leading to short stature. In contrast, midget is now seen by many as outdated and offensive due to its historical use in entertainment and side shows, wherein often dehumanized individuals for profit. That said, language evolves and what feels degrading or respectful can depend on the intent, the tone, personal experience of those being referred to, And that's what they're basically saying. Actual LGBT is saying that. So yeah, midget is an offensive word. Little people is fine. But I do agree with sad bat, but it does sound like little people's also offensive. I mean, they're basically human at the end of the day, aren't they? You know, the growth has been stunned, or it's genetic, I don't know. I'm going to read one or two comments under his post. He's got a lot of comments. Someone has put down, midget has a long and cruel history as a slur. Little people is just a term. That sucks. And if I was 4 foot tall, I'm pretty sure I'd demand no one called me a little person. I have a friend who has dwarfism, and I once suggested we stop calling them little people and start calling them dinklargies. And he told them to go and do one. I'd rather be called a Barty. He was a fan of Billy Barty. I don't know who Billy Barty is. I'm guessing that's American. So yeah, the word midget is offensive. So do not use it. I know I've said it more than 5 times now in this podcast, but I am covering a no stupid question. I hope that's covered it somehow. I have no idea. Oh, I was in Staines a couple of days ago. Forgot to mention that. Staines upon Thames, home of the band Hard Fi. I was doing a gig down there. It's not far from my sister-in-law's house. I actually think I drove past her house. That's how close it was. I messaged my nephew. I said, I'm in your ends, and I took a picture of the venue that I was at. And he was like, what are you doing down here, man? I said, oh, I'm just doing a gig. Did he reply to say, oh, I'll come down? No, he didn't say anything. Hence the reason I told him very late. I was in Staines. Gig was lovely when it started. I'll get to that in a minute. Gig was lovely. Audience were great. I always get worried about doing gigs in London because I don't know, I just find gigs in London are well different. But Staines is not London. It doesn't come under the ULEZ zone, which is great because I can't drive into that. I had to double check before I went to the venue. Do I have to pay for this congestion charge? No. I was over the moon. I got to gig outside of London. I don't think they class themselves as Londoners, people from Staines. Although they're not far at all from central London. Probably, about 40 minutes, 45 minutes on the train? That's a guess. But yeah, I mean, it's all London round that way, isn't it? Doesn't matter which end of the M25 you are. They are literally just on the inside of the M25, but they don't make the border of the ULEZ zone. So that was great. Anyway, the gig started late because the MC got stuck on an M25 accident, and the show didn't start until... So it was meant to start at 8 o'clock, but it actually started at 8:40, and that was due to the MC getting stuck on the M25, as I mentioned. I mean, I said to the organizer, who owns a venue, well, runs events there, I said, mate, just get me on. It's absolutely fine. I'm happy to go on. I'll speak to them for 5-10 minutes, get to know them. Then I'll go into my set, and then we can have a break, and hopefully by then he will be here. I mean, this was at 8:10 because everyone was coming up going, oh, when's the show going to start? How come it hasn't started yet? So people getting annoyed, waiting around, which in a way I don't blame them because it was a Thursday night, and I think some of them obviously probably had work the next day, or they just wanted to get home because it was getting late. But yeah, the show started. I had a great gig. I didn't really stay, but I got to meet a Canadian comedian called Will Hannigan, and there was an Irish comic called Andrew O'Neill, who's a headliner, and Joseph Wilson, who I mentioned before, was the MC. All lovely lads. Great to see them as always. And yeah, I had a great gig. It was fun. What do you do with a dead neighbour?
Ask the UK.
That's right. That is today's Ask the UK question. What do you do with a dead neighbour? I need to dive into this and to see what all this is about. It's been put up by somebody called I Wanted an Albino. Or it's I Wanted Albino. I Wanted an Albino sounds much better. So, their question is, as I said, what do you do with a dead neighbour? Before I read any more of this, report it to the authorities if you think they are dead. I mean, if my neighbour died suddenly or I haven't seen them for ages, I'd be worried. I'd have to go around, knock on the door, make sure everything's okay. If they do look deceased, first I would probably scream. Second one, I would call the local police station, so I wouldn't generally call 999. I would ring a local police station and say, hello, yeah, I think my neighbour's passed away. Can you call an ambulance and possibly the police as well, and contact any family member for this address? I'd give them the address. I wouldn't try and break in myself. I mean, how do you know if a person is alive, though? If they're if they're lying on their back and I can see their chest moving up and down, I'd probably kick the door down, because then I can go into my first aid, which is why I recommend everyone to do first aid training. Go in, resuscitate, bring them back to life, do my best, call someone, emergency. I'd go through the whole procedure that we get taught by at the NHS. Then I'd probably scream before that. Scream is one of the most important things to alert your other neighbours that something terrible has happened. Obviously, hopefully, I will have my mobile phone on me. I wouldn't take any videos or pictures. That's what people do nowadays, don't they? If something happens, quick, pull out your phone, record it. Put it on TikTok, get loads of followers. Yeah, I want to find out what I Wanted Albino is talking about. Maybe something happened to them. We don't know where this is at the moment. It could be anywhere. So, they're saying this morning was the second time I had to go into my neighbour's house because she was unresponsive. In brackets is put down, we have the emergency key. I had to put my shoulder to the bathroom door as her hearing dog was locked in there with her, and I feared the worst. Oh no. As did her friends who had called on her. One of these days, it's not going to be a false alarm. What do you do? Oh, okay. So, is it just 999? So, yeah, he's asking what I would probably do as well. So, what he's trying to say is his neighbour is, ready to go any moment. And they keep getting false alarms. At least he's a good neighbour, he is. He's got an emergency key, can help himself. Use the shower, put the kettle on, watch a bit of telly. Use the electric and gas before he can go back into his own home. Imagine doing that to your neighbour. You go in, you take your food, you do your cooking, you iron your clothes, you make your tea and coffee for the morning or whatever you're doing, and then you go back into your own house. You've literally just used your neighbour's electric, but it doesn't matter because they're an old age pensioner and they get discounts anyway, so they don't get charged much. Imagine if you could do that. That would be hilarious. So, yeah, I Wanted Albino. I think, basically, what I said, scream is the most important thing. Have your phone on with you. Call 999 or call 112, is it? 112? I'm sure it's 112. So that one doesn't take you straight to the emergency services. It takes you to, the other one. So you just go, yeah, I think my neighbour's dead, or can you call an ambulance and preferably the police if they're around. I think my neighbour's dead. And if they've got a next of kin, obviously call them as well and let them know. That's all you can do, my mate. I mean, it's not nice seeing anyone who's passed away, to be honest. But if they are unresponsive, hopefully you've got a defibrillator machine. I would suggest, if you don't know it already, get your first aid training. I'm sure you can get it for free. If you let them know, speak to the NHS, say my neighbour is almost going. She's on death's doors, but I would like to learn it, and I'm sure they would train you up for free. Or just Google free first aid training. I'm pretty sure, 100% sure there's something out there. And if there isn't, it's only like £100 for the course. And you never know, mate, when you need it. You might not need it for your neighbour. You might need it for another emergency service. At least you know. I'm confident enough I can do this. And yeah, it's one of the best things to do in life. As I've always said, I hope I solved your problem. I wanted albino. Hopefully they're still alive that you're listening to this, I think. Let's do this.
Oh, that's interesting.
Oh, that's interesting. What is it that's really interesting, Lovdev Barpager? Well, I found this on an article. It's been put up on Reddit, as always, from Spit It Off. It says, the title basically says, woman with an unrestrained hatred for child predators hunts down, kills, and dismembers a wanted offender who basically did something to a 17-year-old girl. And this was 24 years ago. Ooh, she's basically Dexter. If you haven't seen Dexter, it's a very good TV show. It's about a crime detective who's a blood splatter analyst. He goes to crime scenes and he works out basically how they died just by looking at the blood. And then he finds out who the killer is, and then before the police get to them, he kills them, but in his own way. It's like it's a serial killer killing serial killers. If you've never heard of Dexter, you need to go watch it. I think it's brilliant, but it does get a bit repetitive as it goes on. But it's a great show otherwise. So yeah, this vigilante woman, apparently she's from Colorado in America, and she had a paranoia about child molesters. She's been sentenced to life in prison. She's not a wanted sex offender and dumped his remains in a drainage ditch. So her name is Decker. She's spent the rest of her life behind bars without the possibility of parole over the murder of a 48-year-old as well in Colorado. So they sentenced her on Wednesday, so it's quite recently. Prosecutor Sharon Flattery said closing arguments that Simmons murdered Seeger because he was an offender who had a relationship with a 17-year-old when he was 25. So Simmons was the subject of an intensive investigation which stretches back from all the way from 2022, and she got arrested then for this brutal killing. So I'm going to read it briefly because it's quite long and it feels like I'm doing the weird news, but I'm not. I'm going to do that next. Simmons kills Seeger while he had a warrant out for his arrest for his failure to register as an offender. According to authorities, Simmons shot Seeger in a garage. Then she dismembered his body and stowed it in a freezer before transporting his remains in a van. Officers had been able to link the brutal murder to Simmons because of the DNA they recovered from blood in the garage across more than 300 stains. So in October in 2023, the police found Seeger's body in a drainage ditch near the block of Polk Street, whatever that is, probably in Colorado. It was an ominous tip regarding human remains in a bag. Flattery told the court Simmons had intense disdain for child offenders, according to testimony for the trial. It was claimed that ill feelings stemmed from an alleged incident which involved her daughter. Maybe her daughter got attacked when she was, like, young, and she's just had this hatred for these type of people and thought, you know what, I'm going to end their life. I'm not saying well done, but I probably would shake her hand. She has unrestrained hatred for anyone who would molest a child, the prosecutor said, before adding that this feeling of loathing was a fixation and a paranoia. Maybe she just became like Dexter, innit? That's literally what happened. I'm not going to read any more. So that happened, 24 years ago. This bloke has been with this girl since she was 17. And then she must have found out and thought, nah, mate, you're one of them. You're a predator. So she killed a predator. It's time to end the podcast. Yay! For me, but probably not for you, because you love listening to this. If you do love listening to this, do that thing. Share it, like it, comment on it. It doesn't matter if you already commented before. Comment on another post. Maybe comment on this episode, or one that you really loved and made you laugh. You laughed at it so much, you thought, I'm gonna listen to this again, because I've got a very long drive. And I love listening to Lovdev, because I know his whole life story. And you know who you are. Yeah, I'm not even going to say your names, but you know who you are. Anyway, let's do this. The weird news story. Where is it? I think it's the UK. I don't know. I might be wrong. But yeah, the weird news story. The title of it is Tourists Lean Out from a Train Door for Selfies. Number of accidents keep rising. So basically, tourists' heads are getting chopped off because they keep looking out the window. Anyway, let's read on. The number of accidents involving tourists engaging in unsafe behaviour on the upcountry main line trains has been on the rise, prompting calls for stricter safety measures and greater awareness. According to a senior official from the Railways Department, foreign tourists often lean out of a train door, hold on to the footboard handles, and take a selfie. Oblivious to the risks, these behaviours, popularised by social media trends, have led to a series of tragic incidents this year. In a recent case, an Iranian woman sustained critical head injuries after striking a tunnel while attempting to take a selfie near Ohio and Idalagashina. I don't know where that is. She was rushed to the Nuwara Elia General Hospital and remains in critical condition. Other incidents include a tourist who fell off a footboard and suffered severe injuries, and another who tragically lost his life. Several similar accidents have been reported this year, with many raising concerns about the lack of preventive measures. It is responsibility of tourist guides, hotel management, and travel agencies to educate visitors about the dangers of unsafe practices on trains. Stakeholders are being urged to implement immediate measures to address the issue. Recommendations include launching safety awareness campaign, making onboard safety announcement in multiple language, that would help, increasing supervision on popular routes, and modifying the train design to restrict access to footboards. That probably would stop it. Yeah, I think that, it's not rocket science, is it? Basically, if you're on a train, don't pop your head out or you might lose it. Talking about losing it, it's the end of the podcast. I hope you enjoyed it. Do what I said. Give it a like. Give it a share. All that malarkey. See you next week, folks.